Hey, and welcome to VFX Tutors. I'm Josh, and yeah, I'm trying it again, trying to do these video intros, hoping to make it a little bit more personal and friendly. It's probably still going to be a little bit awkward, but I'll try and not be so awkward. I can't promise anything. Anyway, so in our previous one, we talked about the pipeline, or at least like your basic VFX pipeline, to help you optimize your sort of workflows for your personal projects. And it was kind of it's a very stripped down version of a visual effects pipeline, but the sort of core elements are there. And like, if you're doing your own thing and you're just working by yourself, you're not going to be able to incorporate every single element in a VFX pipeline, because there's just so many branches that go off in multiple different directions, and it can be extremely complicated to sort of handle by itself. But you can break it down and keep it much simpler in this sort of sense. So I've made that sort of pipeline that you can follow, and you don't have to. You can sort of bend it to what you need. But this is what I sort of use for my sort of pipeline. So in the previous one, we talked about starting off with your idea. And so this sort of series is based on a very simple sort of idea, and it's just placing a CG bird box in a tree. So it's not super complicated, and the whole idea is that you should be able to do this in at least a weekend or so. And just by doing this very simple project, it will teach you such a huge amount just by going through those steps. So we'll start with the shoot plan and the idea. It was a very simple idea. There wasn't a huge amount of planning that goes into it because it was just one shot. But I'll go through my sort of initial idea and how I go through to then make my own shoot plan. For something like this, as simple as this, you could just do it in your head. But when you're doing larger projects, you really want to write down your shoot plan and get all your storyboards. But for this case, it's very simple. And in the next series, we'll do something more complicated, not super complicated, but something that we can work in more in depth in doing these storyboards and planning. So let's move on. I'm just going to go through some of my planning and prep work. I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and let's get going. So starting with any idea, it's usually starting from a sketch. It wasn't anything crazy. I'm not a very good drawer, so I do my best with what skills I have drawing-wise. So it started off with something like this. And as you can see, it's a really rough, sort of framed, almost storyboardish like sketch of what you could interpret as a bird box on a tree, which is how I see it. I don't know how anyone else would see it, but yeah. It can be anything. Like, your idea can be just written down on a napkin. It doesn't have to be professionally done. You can just be in your head. You can scribble it down on your hand or anywhere, just as long as you get the idea down. And then after that, you want to then sort of break down your idea into the storyboard. As this is kind of just one shot, and it's a very simple shot, the storyboard is just kind of this. It's not anything complicated. You can sort of see the idea is just a camera pans up or dollies up to see the bird box and sees it, basically. It's nothing. It's just sort of a training shot. And then, obviously, in the next ones, we can do something a little bit more complicated and maybe a little bit more fun. But after doing this, you'll have such a good overview of the whole sort of way VFX works. You'll be able to implement this in all your sort of projects, and you'll be pulling off amazing things. Cool. So just by this, I can tell that, like, what camera movement, trees, environments, lighting. So the first thing that I always know is for the data acquisition, that I'll always try and get a good set scan. If you have the good set scan, everything's easy after that, because it provides so much data for everyone in the pipeline. It's literally the most important thing to get when you're out on set. I would always prioritize getting a scan of wherever they're shooting. It's so beneficial to everyone, and it makes life a lot easier. And we'll go through how to build that scan as well. So, and then their Hdri for the lighting, obviously. So it's going to have something CG in there. So we will need some Hdri, some reference, which if you shoot your Hdri properly, you should get some really good lighting. But saying that, you can still have a bad Hdri and still get some pretty good lighting. And you might have seen them before, like your balls charts, the sort of chrome ball and the grey ball, and the sort of multicolored chart. These are actually, surprisingly, some people think these are kind of like obsolete now, but they're still really important to get your lighting and your color correct, because the balls and chart really do help with you orientating that HDRI to the correct orientation. If you get that correct, your lighting is so much easier. And then the chart matches your color space with your plate color space, because the chances are you could use any sort of camera. I use a Canon that's in a completely different color space. That's in Adobe sRGB, and obviously if you're shooting in Blackmagic, that's going to be in Blackmagic RAW, or Cinema DNG, or if you're shooting in ARRI, so it could be anything. So we need to be able to match those with the chart. So then you have like also texture ref for shooting, texture reference, I guess, for if anything's being textured. It's really useful to have that. It helps everyone further down the line, texturing wise. And also if comp need to clean up stuff with texture ref, they sometimes do that and they can reproject it back on. And also then your camera data. So it's always good to record all your sort of camera data, getting your lens grids. But I'd say the most important thing is to get the make of the camera, because you can Google that anywhere and you can get a lot of details from it. And writing down your focal lengths for what shots they are, and getting your lens grids if you can. But a lot of this stuff, if you get your scan and measurements, you can sacrifice some of this, but obviously if you want everything, it's your best scenario. So we kind of know what we want. We know what we need to do the shots for the scan and measurements. That's going to be like layout and match move, HDRI for lighting and comp, balls of chart, lighting and comp still, texture ref, lighting, comp and texturing, and the camera data mostly for match move and layout, and probably some comp stuff as well. So we'll just quickly pop over to like the shot requirements thing, and it's all 3D basically. It's a CG bird box being put on a tree, so it's not super complicated. Obviously if we were doing comp, it would be a 2D comp at the end, but like I said before, the level of comp we're going to do is just A over B and add the distortion. It's barely even compositing, basically. We're just putting it on top of each other. We're not really comping. We're not using AOVs. We just want to try and get the render as close as possible so we can just A over B it. There will be some sort of like, it won't look 100% perfect, but we're aiming to get it as close as we can without fiddling with anything. Because then when you do AOVs and stuff like that, and then you give it to a compositor, they can do amazing things. So if we can get it as close as we can into CG, it makes everyone's life a lot easier. So that's why we're only going to be doing a beauty pass and just doing an A over B and adding distortion. So filming this, it was fairly simple. So I probably don't really need to talk about it. It's just me filming a tree and getting all the data. So I guess the next thing would be to go through and start our actual the rushes stage, where we actually start getting the data in and ingesting it all. So our first step would be to get all our data in and start getting it ready to be used. So our first step is going to be, well, our third step even in this sort of pipeline, but the first time we actually get our data to the production stage will be the data ingest. So that'll be the next tutorial, and it'll be really simple and quick, but I'm just going to try and get through as much of this as possible. So we'll do the data ingest, and we'll do that data housekeeping at the same time. So we don't need two separate tutorials. It's just going to be organizing stuff. So yeah, then after that, we'll transcode our footage and data. This is a really important step to get all our colors spaces correct. Yeah, I know it's been a pretty brief tutorial and there's not really loads. I'll just show you the sort of things that I did. But yeah, I hope that it's been sort of insightful, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've enjoyed this tutorial, hit that like button and subscribe for more like this.